8 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. We've been hearing about the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, or whatever. I'm probably saying it wrong. With the Ebola story, I mean, it's constantly in the news. Like every time you turn on the news. There's another scary thing happening out there. It's the enterovirus 68. I think I'm saying that right. And what I understood about this is that some children have experienced symptoms similar to polio from this. Dr. John Young is on the phone. He's an emergency room physician. He specializes in the treatment of chronic and genetic disease. He did some of the first studies on the use of polymer membrane and its use in the treatment of second and third degree burns. He's a consultant in the Republic of South Africa on the treatment and prevention of sexually transmitted diseases. Maybe he can comment on the Ebola thing as well, but he's primarily visiting us this morning on phone to talk about ways to protect children from the enterovirus 68. Again, with symptoms of polio, some paralysis, and this is when I find out whether it's permanent or temporary paralysis. How scary is the world, right? Dr. Young, good morning, doctor.
Good morning.
Where are you right now?
St. Petersburg, Florida. Lovely St. Pete.
All right, not too far away. So I guess my first question is are the polio symptoms from enterovirus, are they permanent?
I've heard that one report that the child still has some paralysis, but for most of the cases, it seems like it's a temporary thing. Oh,
that's a relief for the most part. Is there any precedence to this? Have we seen this before?
Well, they say it's a distant cousin of the polio virus, and that's probably why it has some affinity towards the nervous tissue, nerves and things like that. But it also affects a lot of other tissues. But there seems to be, in reports I've read, that it's a distant cousin to the polio virus.
Oh, okay. And so if we had a polio vaccine at some point in our lives, are we not protected because it's not the same? It's a cousin, in quotes?
Yeah, it's not exactly, the address is not exactly that address as the polio vaccine. It's a little bit off.
Oh, wow. So is this like a new strain of polio? I mean, is that a way to look at it?
No, I wouldn't call it a new strain of polio. I would just call it that this is a disease, a virus that basically can have a little bit of an affinity towards nervous tissue, but it isn't 100%.
The one report that I was listening to on the radio indicated that it was children only who were affected by this. Is that true?
Well, I think probably because we looked mostly at children. Listen, what I've been reading and seeing is this, that people that have a compromised immune system are more likely to be affected by this organism or have the more serious problems. And, of course, what other group that has an immune system compromised is also the elderly.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know how many elderly are we, in the nursing homes taking these samples and sending them off.
Now, sometimes this is very, very scary for a parent because we were reading that sometimes it seems like the children have cold symptoms, and then all of a sudden it can turn into paralysis.
Right, because it starts out, listen, name one kid that doesn't, especially, as we're going into the fall, that doesn't have a runny nose or some type of cold symptom. And for most of us, just shake it off, it's going to be fine. But the thing I tell parents is this. If your kid has a chronic illness, asthma, diabetes, anything that's chronic, the body's immune system is automatically compromised. So I would watch the child a little more closely, and if you're at all concerned, call your pediatrician. But, they all start out about the same. It's just that ones that seem to have a compromised immune system get in trouble.
So there's a difference in opinion, and I'm basing this on the different guests that Robin and I have on this radio show, regarding like general health of children. There's one school of thought that says, keep them protected at all costs, and the other one that says, no, let them expose to germs and the dirt and everything, because then they'll be better protected when they get older. What is your position on that?
Well, having worked both overseas in Africa, third world, and here, my feeling is that we need to let them be exposed to some of these organisms because that's where you develop the imprint in the immune system so that you can fight them later on. Now, what I am doing with my patients that I don't I think a lot of doctors are missing out on is there's some very easy ways to jazz up that immune system. And I learned this from a professor at Harvard University a couple years ago. Just raising their vitamin D levels are going to make their immune systems better. The doctors will say, the vitamin D chart says your normal is between 30 and a 100. If you're 31, you're fine. Well, in looking at the big studies, if you get that level up around 60 or 70, that immune system is much, much more effective. And that's dirt cheap, easy.
Oh, really?
Patients can do is just go to their pediatrician, get their vitamin D level, and get it up to around 60 or 70. And I see this all the time with my patients. The family comes in, gee, I gave little Johnny an extra dose of vitamin D, and man, the cold's gone the next morning. You can
vitamin D. Wow.
As in dogs.
Yeah, I know. I hear you. I'm just surprised because usually you hear vitamin C when it comes to things like that. So does this apply to adults as well?
It applies to adults as well. I mean, I've gotten people, their levels are much higher, and here they all say the same thing. John, I'm not as sick as I used to be. I fought this cold off instead of it lasting a week like my coworkers. Mine lasted a day, and that's fine.
Wow.
But vitamin D makes the immune system stronger.
I want to take that. You kind of give us a new direction. So let's take a little break. We've got a weather break coming up, and then we'll be right back. I want to find out more about this when we come back. This is The Source, WOCA.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. A nice day today. Sunshine mixed with clouds, the high 79 to 83. And partly cloudy skies tonight, lows ranging from 63 to 70 along the coast. Tomorrow, partly sunny and warm with a high of 82 to 86. And on Wednesday, partly sunny, very warm and more humid, high 84 to 88. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hey, it's Christy with Ocala Mac and PC Repair and Ocala Guest Wi-Fi to let you know we have you covered. We are the only local certified Apple and Microsoft computer company in Ocala. We are family owned and operated. From mobile repair to wireless networks, viruses, new systems, or security cameras, we do it all. Check us out online, ocalamacpc.com, or give us a call, 352-566-8324.
Tell them Nick, Madison, or Mason sent you and get free diagnostic.
Get your internet telephone service from the company that brought affordable internet service to Ocala in the first place. All Is Safe is a sister company of Ocala Guest Wi-Fi, a company you've known and trusted for all your internet needs. Whether you need a phone or hundreds, we've got the products and services to meet your needs both now and in the future. Our plans include everything from local and long-distance calling to equipment maintenance and even software upgrades. You can count on All Is Safe to give you cost certainty knowing that your bill will be the same next week, next month, or even next year. Call 352-450-8647 today to learn how to cut your monthly telephone bill up to 60%.
All right, 16 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for waiting through the break. Fascinating direction that our conversation has taken. Dr. John Young is on the phone down in St. Petersburg, and we started out talking about the enterovirus number 68. And if you have questions about that, by the way, feel free to call in and ask. However, he went in a different direction than I had anticipated. We're talking about vitamin D. He's not, by the way, this is not an infomercial. He's not trying to sell you a bottle of vitamin D. But let's talk about that for a second here. Dr. Young, thank you for waiting through the break.
Sure.
Don't we get vitamin D from the sun?
We get it from the sun. However, if you live north of Atlanta, you make no vitamin D from, I think it's November to March because of the direct rays of the sun. The other thing is to get the maximum vitamin D manufactured by your cells in the body. You need to be out in that sun from about 11 to 1:30 and with as little clothes on as possible. And most people, that their boss is not going to let them go to the office in their bikini.
Right. So the nudists are healthier than the rest of us?
But the other thing is, what have we been told? Oh, you're going outside, put sunblock on, so that reduces vitamin D. Wear long sleeve shirts, that reduces vitamin D. So we're doing a lot of things in our cultures that are saying, we don't want to make vitamin D.
Really? So I made a silly comment, but if I could ask you to at least humor me and address that, are there any studies that show that people who go without clothing and stay out in the sun all day long are healthier?
I don't know that. There is a nudist colony in Pasco County. But I do know this, that, and I was talking, there was an article, I wrote an article for a paper recently on this, and if you go back 25 years ago, all hospitals had sunrooms that the patient would be wheeled there every day for 20, 30 minutes to soak up the sun.
Really?
Well, now, they've turned those sunrooms into offices. Oh, we can't get the sun. But,
So can I ask a question about windows? A sunroom would have sunlight coming through a window. Sunlight going through sunscreen, you said, blocks the vitamin D. Does the window block the vitamin D?
Yes, it does.
So
wow.
So you can't you can't be getting sunlight through glass.
No, it has to be through the open air.
Because why? The UV is blocked or something?
Yeah, the glass will block those rays.
Huh.
Sometimes we think when my children were growing up, they're huge milk drinkers, vitamin D milk. They went through like a gallon of milk a day. Sometimes now when people do grow up, they become lactose intolerant. Does that take away from the vitamin D too if you have to not drink vitamin D milk but lactose?
Well, here's what they're saying. They put vitamin D in the milk. Mainly they were looking at keeping rickets down because you need 400 international units of vitamin D a day to prevent rickets. Okay. But when you're talking about disease, immune system, you're talking about 5 to 15 to 20,000 units a day of vitamin D. So if they don't drink milk, they're only going to lose out on 400 international units of vitamin D a day. It's no big deal.
Oh.
All right, let me go to the phone. I told you had some calls coming in, and I want to make sure we get some of them in. Good morning. Thank you for being patient with us. You're on the air with Dr. John Young.
Good morning, Dr. Young. With the liberal stance on our borders and everything, I firmly believe that a lot of these mutant diseases and things are coming back into this country, especially things like TB, which we virtually eradicated from our society, are back here again. And then to go back now to vitamin D, I'm a senior citizen, and I'm taking 4,000 IUs of vitamin D a day, 2,000 2 times a day. And just listen to your statement about what a dose should be. I'm just wondering, should I take this vitamin 2,000 IUs 3 times a day? And one last question. How does an IU equate to a milligram? I'll hang up and listen to your answers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for waiting.
I don't know how the IUs relate to milligrams because everything with vitamin D is always, as far as I've been around, it's always been in international units. But the other thing is this, from the Harvard professor, the average person probably uses, just living on planet Earth, between 6 and 10,000 international units of vitamin D a day. If you're under stress, going through a divorce, have a chronic illness, you can use up to 15,000 units a day of vitamin D. So that's why I say that the patients, go to your doctor, have them get a baseline vitamin D level. Vitamin D, you cannot overdose on vitamin D, otherwise we wouldn't have lifeguards. But what happens is it can raise your calcium levels. So you just make sure your doctor knows what your calcium level is and kind of follow that. But I've had patients who their vitamin D level went up to 230 and had no problems. But they have to do that with a doctor's supervision.
Wow, I didn't even know you could measure your vitamin D level.
Yeah.
Wow. So maybe related, maybe not, I don't know. And I'll bring a story about Robin. 2 weeks ago, we had a scare with Robin. We thought she might be having a stroke. Her mouth was hanging down on one side. And long story short, the emergency room is where she went. And the doctors determined it was Bell's palsy. Now, 2 weeks later, she's fine. She looks fine. Her mouth is straight. But it took about 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just about. And they said it's from a virus. Is it possible that if her vitamin D level was low, it could have allowed that virus to come in or whatever? I mean, what is that?
Possible. I've never seen a study connecting Bell's palsy with vitamin D. We do know this, though. People that live closer to the equator, rarely ever do you ever see MS, multiple sclerosis.
Really?
Wow.
What about the Ebola thing? Would we be better protected from Ebola if we increase the vitamin D?
Well, the whole thing is this. When you increase vitamin D, you're making your immune system work better. And so I'm not saying this is a cure, but remember, people die. I used to think when I started medical school, oh, gee whiz, none of my patients will ever die from pneumonia because I'll put them on antibiotics. If you don't have an immune system, antibiotics aren't going to be able to wipe out all the organisms in your body. Antibiotics are there to help your immune system fight the organisms. So you've got to have an alert immune system to overcome a lot of these diseases, whether it be the E68 or Ebola, or whatever. The better the immune system, the better the patient does.
When children have these symptoms and then the parent brings them into the doctor thinking it's a cold or something like that, does the doctor know right away that it could be that enterovirus D68, or does he have to give a special test to the child?
I send them down to the health department, and then they can do that special testing and send it off to CDC and to identify it.
So how do you boost your own vitamin D? So obviously this is something you take. You're not just preaching it; you're practicing it. I'm guessing. And what do you do? Do you take a pill, or do you just sit out in the sun? What do you do?
Well, I play a lot of tennis out on the weekends, but during the week, I take about 10 to 15,000 units of vitamin D a day.
And what do you do? Just go to the health food store and buy it? I mean, we're not trying to.
It's dirt cheap. Yeah, I buy. We have a bottle. One drop is 2,000 units. So, 5-7 drops is 10 to 15,000 units. Put it in water, milk, caviar, wine, whatever you want to, and take it.
No,
love that.
I'm going to put it in my caviar. Never had caviar.
When babies are born, sometimes we think that we should keep the children home until they're like about 6 weeks old before they go out into the world. Is it better just to expose them to everything, so by the time they're 5 or 6, they've had the chicken pox and the measles and all of that stuff, so their immune system builds on their own?
Well, I think for the first 6 to 8 weeks, I err on the side of caution. Their immune system is just getting adjusted to this world versus the womb. And then, as they get older, then I think, if they're exposed to some of these things, they're going to do okay. Because this is what I saw in Africa, is they weren't that protected from all those diseases out there, or, illnesses. And they seem to have a pretty good immune system.
Oh my God!
The thing I'm thinking about right now is the fact that we're almost out of time, and our listeners probably want to know more, or maybe want to share this with somebody, and they want to, be able to speak intelligently about it, or print up an article. Is there a website you can direct them to?
Yeah, they can go to younghealth.com. Younghealth.com.
Yeah. That's yours, right?
Yeah, but what we basically tried to do is just say, there's things that maybe your doctor isn't telling you that you can do cheap and easy. I wrote a book called Beyond Treatment, which is just basically this, kind of what we've talked about. There's other things that you can do that are cheap and easy to make yourself better.
Wow, okay. And you're on St. Pete. Next time you do the interview, you got to come up here.
Okay.
Are some of these viruses that the children get, are they genetic?
Well, I think if you have some genetic weaknesses, you're more likely to get some of these problems. Remember, not every virus, is going to affect you. There has to be, if there is a genetic weakness, you may be more prone to be harmed by that virus.
Okay. The website that the doctor gave us was younghealth.com. Young as in Dr. Young. Dr. John Young is our guest. And just found out he has a book, too. It's called Beyond Treatment, which you can also buy at the website. I think D should be for defense, it sounds like. D for defense. I came up with it. You probably had that one already.
Is bacteria considered a virus, or are they two different things?
Two different things. Bacteria is one thing, virus is another thing. Then you have fungus, molds, things like that.
And does our defense, our internal defense, does it protect us against all those things?
That's what it does. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So D is the thing for everything, whether it's a bacteria, a virus, a mold, anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, it just makes the immune system better.
Wow.
And can adults have an immune system that hasn't been fully developed as a child and get this antiretrovirus 68?
Yeah.
So you would think somebody with HIV or something, where their immune system is already being compromised, they would benefit from this. Is that true?
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I would think so too. Doctor,
Amazing.
thank you for helping us understand the two things. We went from the enterovirus 68 to the fact that vitamin D can be used as a way to boost your immune system. Dr. John Young, thank you for being on the air with us today. For the listeners, the website he gave us was younghealth.com, and you can also go to the Center for Disease Control, which is cdc.gov. Dr. Young, thank you so much.
Take care.
All right, we will take a little break. Be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. A nice day today. Sunshine mixed with clouds, the high 79 to 83. And partly cloudy skies tonight, lows ranging from 63 to 70 along the coast. Tomorrow, partly sunny and warm with a high of 82 to 86. And on Wednesday, partly sunny, very warm and more humid, high 84 to 88. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. An American photojournalist who contracted Ebola while in Liberia has arrived in Nebraska.
He left Liberia on a specially equipped plane late Sunday and will be treated in Omaha, the fifth American diagnosed with Ebola. In Dallas, Thomas Eric Duncan is getting worse. He's now in critical condition. Those who had close contact with Duncan are still being monitored.
Fox Radio's Tanya J. Powers. ISIS is trying to capture a Syrian town near the Turkish border where heavy fighting continues.
As militants try and capture the Syrian town of Kobani and nearby villages, Kurdish forces are trying to push them back. Dozens of fighters have been killed on both sides.
Fox News Radio's Emily Wither from our Mideast Bureau. Cleanup is underway at the site of a train accident in northeast Louisiana. Police say the engineer and conductor were injured when a freight train hit a truck Sunday, derailing 2 engines and 17 cars. Fox News, we report, you decide.
You use the motor oil Dad used, and he uses what Granddad used, yet no one uses what Great-Granddad used, because whale oil's illegal. But if oil's what you need, Napa has you covered. With Castrol GTX for only $3.79 a quart, or 5 quarts in a Napa Silver filter for just $21.99. No harpoons needed. Conquer the job with Napa know-how. General states pricing. Sales prices do not include applicable state, local taxes, or recycling fees. At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 11/16/14.
What's the secret to great business trips? Choice Hotels, where you'll find everything a business traveler needs, like a generous rewards program. And right now, when you take 2 separate trips at Comfort Inn or any Choice Hotel, you can earn 1 night free. Stay for business at Choice Hotels and book now at choicehotels.com. Great endings begin here. Free night based on an 8,000-point Choice Privileges reward night at over 1,500 hotels. Valid 9/4/14 through 11/12/14. Requires registration and 2 separate qualifying stays. Other terms and conditions apply. Details at choicehotels.com.
Hi, Danny Werfel here. Get moving with Florida Credit Union's fast and easy loan approval process.
Let Florida Credit Union start up a new car loan for you today. No more waiting, hassles, or stop signs. You can even apply online. With a strong financial team behind you, you can enjoy great rates and fast approvals.
It's all about personalized service and a streamlined process.
Florida Credit Union, connecting your money to your life.
Hey, Matt, I know Sunrise Automotive does auto stuff, but I need some tires for my truck. Can you recommend someone?
Yes, I can. We do that.
No, I mean, I need them installed and balanced and all that.
Yep, we do that.
Well, my son needed his windows tinted.
Yep, we do that.
I need my seat replaced.
Yep, we do that too.
I need a new roof line, a new spoiler, and a new truck.
We can even do that too.
Okay, I get it. I suppose you can also do a radio show too, huh?
Well, as a matter of fact, join me every Monday at 10 for auto repair with personal care here on The Source.
Of course you do.
Good credits, bad credits. It's none of our business because we're not an auto dealer. We're not a bank. We're not your mother. We're OcalaForSale.com. Marion County's marketplace for cars, trucks, and SUVs. We've got thousands of sellers standing by to take your call. No middleman. But hurry, don't walk, don't run. Just sit down and log on to OcalaForSale.com. Prices and inventory change daily. Offer does not include dealer upcharge. Undercutting, rust-proofing, factory surcharge, or delivery fee. See website for details.
Do you have areas that have started sagging or drooping? Is what you're looking at not quite the same as it was years ago? Are there enhancements you've been putting off? Is there serious damage you need fixed? Then call on us, Damage Control Services. When your roof is sagging and the drywall is drooping after a storm, or your home just needs some enhancements, from damage repairs to new construction, Damage Control Services is here to help.
Hi, I'm Yvette, and I'm here to tell you a few things about ABC Frederick's Appliance. They sell not only new, but used guaranteed appliances. When you call ABC Frederick's Appliance, they will provide service on what